It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Hey everybody, Joe Castello here, NHRA podcast on WFO Radio. Getting ready for the Arizona Nationals. So much going on in the sport of NHRA drag racing, and drag racing in general, in fact. On this episode, you're going to hear from Drag Illustrated editor / race promoter Wes Buck. Wes is going to come on the show because he is promoting a huge race down there in Orlando, Florida, prior to the Gator Nationals. And if you're heading down to that part of the country, I would just go for both weeks and make a vacation out of it. Pro Stock, Pro Mod, going to be battling it out. It's kind of a tune-up test, but it's worth a whole lot of money. Before the Gator Nationals, we're going to hear from Wes on this show. Before we get to Wes and talk a little Pro Stock, Pro Mod, I want to let you know about the people who make this show possible. Without these people, WFO Radio doesn't happen. We're talking about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Total Seal fits the rings, Pro Mod, Pro Stock, Formula One, Stock Eliminator, your bracket car. If you're building an engine, you should have the best rings possible. Give them a call, 800-874-2753, Total Seal Piston Rings. Samtech.edu. For all you younger folks out there, I hate that I say that now, but now that I'm a middle-aged folk, I got to say that. An education that puts you in a career that cannot be shipped away, outsourced, or eliminated. High-performance engine building, CNC machining in general, blockhead CNC programs. They've got it all at Samtech. Imagine you want to get involved in drag racing or motorsports, or even at the local level, helping folks with LS or Coyote power plants, Dodge Challengers all over the road. The guy who knows how to tune EFI, he can make a lot of money and have the dream of doing something he loves. And all of that can be taught at samtech.edu, 713-683-3817. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill, so check them out. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. If you've never been down the track, go to the Dragster Adventure. They travel all around the country. They bring the dragsters. They set you up with the cars and the equipment, make it real easy on you. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com. It's a great program for the person who always wondered, what's it like to go fast in a dragster? It's called the Dragster Adventure. Check it out. Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com. Marvin Rodak out of Fort Worth, Texas. He's a grillmeister. He's won awards. He's been on the Big Bad Barbecue Battle on Food Channel. And Marvin Rodak makes the best coffee, the best hot sauces, the best spice rubs, and sells the best grills down there in Fort Worth, Texas. You can certainly try it if you take your coffee seriously like I do. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. And finally, MagicDryUS.com. We spoke with Scott Palmer, the Magic Dry Racer, in Top Fuel earlier this week. And Palmer, he's good to go. He's got another Capco clone out there, and he's going to go out and try to win a race here in 2020. That is the plan. Talking about big promotions. Well, all right, joining us now, he's the editor of Drag Illustrated, quite the promoter as well, and has got a big Pro Stock, Pro Mod race coming to the state of Florida the week before the Gator Nationals. Wes Buck joins us. Wes, welcome back to WFO Radio Podcast. How are you?
Wonderful, Joe. Thank you so much for having me, man. It's always a pleasure, and I like that. Quite the promoter. I'll take it.
You're doing stuff. You're making moves. I like that. I think it's admirable to, you take shots, you do things. You're trying to advance the ball for drag racing. That is good. We need more of that. And this particular race, it's happening in the state of Florida, my home state, about 3 hours north of me, at a track that is near and dear to my heart because I won a bracket race there once and have, had a lot of good times out at Orlando Speedworld. And you're bringing something big there, and I think it's going to go over big. Let's talk a little bit about what we got going on. The Drag Illustrated World Doorslammer Nationals presented by C-Tech Manufacturing. And to me, this is a supplement to the Gator Nationals, right? Everybody's getting there early, so the fans should just get there early as well.
I couldn't agree more, man, honestly, and thank you for that. Yeah, the Drag Illustrated World Doorslammer Nationals presented by C-Tech Manufacturing. I definitely think the way that it butts up against the NHRA Gator Nationals, for me, is a little bit of a dream come true. You mentioned a minute ago, one thing we are not is afraid to swing the bat. We've done a lot of swinging of the bat over the course of the last few years. And for me, as a promoter, to be in this part of the country at this time of the year with the other things, the other stars and moon aligning type things with the Gator Nationals a week out, man, that's you're checking a lot of boxes there. World-renowned track prep team at Orlando Speedworld Dragway. You've got mine shaft conditions this time of year, and you're giving these racers the opportunity to come in and test for a week leading up to the big East Coast opener, man. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know what more we could do, Joe, to get this thing loaded for bear.
Well, it is. People don't realize that North Florida and South Florida are two different states, right? We are connected, and you have to go through the middle to get to North from the South. But drag racing is huge in South Florida, and a lot of people go to the Gator Nationals and will go to the Gator Nationals regardless. But you got a lot of opportunity, because there are so many fans of Pro Stock and Pro Mod in our area. We have so many people, and I think you're going to have a big crowd out there. How did this come together, though, Wes? In that I know there was a test, and then people want to watch the test, and Orlando is like, well, we got Pro Mod, let's get Pro Stock in there. The Pro Stockers love to come to Florida to test. How did it all work out?
Well, I'm going to say, how did it come together? Quickly, Joe, is how it came together quickly. I was actually just on the phone with Ozzie Moya, the owner down there at Orlando Speedworld, and we were kind of laughing that this was literally a conversation December 6th. I mean, a couple of months ago, we were over drinks in the hotel lobby bar discussing the possibility of doing this race, and here we are a couple weeks away from what I think is going to be a historic happening in the sport of drag racing. And really, man, it's a group of guys, myself, Richard Freeman, the owner of Elite Motorsports out of Wynnewood, Oklahoma, a massive truck and trailer conglomerate, as well as a professional race team operation. And Ozzie Moya just got together, and there's been this kind of ongoing test session that happened before the Gator Nationals at Orlando. It was very well attended by Pro Mod teams specifically. And Ozzie and I just kind of got to talking about potentially doing a race together one of these days. And I don't know about you. You mentioned Orlando having a special place in your heart. For whatever reason, Orlando to me has a special place in the heart of like the collective Doorslammer masses, man. I just think back to how many iconic moments. I can't help but think about the Orlando World Street Nationals and what that event meant to our sport. The people who built cars specifically to race those classes, how many people got their start at that event on the outlaw quarter mile down there in Orlando, and what the success they went on to have. So for me personally, it was rather intoxicating to have the opportunity to promote an event at Orlando Speedworld Dragway, man, like just a place that is rich with tradition. And I got to say that for me, and you could probably speak onto this more so than I can, but from what I understand, talking to Ozzie and some of the locals, Top Fuel and Funny Car, they're a great thing, but people look at Pro Stock, Pro Mod the way maybe on the West Coast they look at Top Fuel and Funny Car down in that part of the country, that it's just a very Doorslammer-centric group of fans. So I'm excited to bring a show of this magnitude to this group of people and, check all those boxes, man. Conditions, time of year, all these things, cabin fever. Joe, hey, we're completely kind of glossing over the elephant in the room, a purse of $300,000.
Yes, well, exactly. That's $75K to win Pro Stock, $50K to win Pro Mod plus payback. To me, that is a huge statement. You can't just announce a race and maybe some people will come. Now, all of a sudden, this is like, wow, whoever gets this is going to have a huge leg up in terms of the budget. This is a big payday as far as Pro Stock and Pro Mod goes.
Dude, when you start, one of the things that I've seen, personally over the course of the last 15 years working in the sport of drag racing is just this kind of ongoing realization that one guy wins on Sunday, right? One to a handful, right? There are all these guys that try just as hard and maybe tear up more stuff and spend every bit as much money, but they fall short. And for us, when Richard and I were discussing the purse breakdown and how we wanted to do this, we both felt strongly that we want to make it, if you qualify for this race, it needs to be significant. If you qualify for this deal, it needs to be something that's going to have an impact on your program moving forward. And I got to tell you, man, to put $7,500 in the pocket of a guy who qualifies for Pro Stock, I mean, for me, it feels like it sounds kind of cliche, but it's just the right thing to do. I know how hard these guys work and how much effort and energy and money goes into getting one of these cars ready to race, let alone go compete at a high level and qualify for a show like this. So to pay $7,500 to qualify in Pro Stock, to pay $3,000 to qualify in Pro Mod, I mean, that's 10 times what it is most places, Joe. So, and that's not a shot at anybody, but that's just a cold, hard fact that we want this to be a once-a-year thing where people come out, Doorslammer racers, Pro Stock and Pro Mod racers come out, they get treated like royalty, and they get paid accordingly.
And I think I agree, of course. It's just so expensive to do this, and that's the conversation that's happening everywhere now. Like, we have Top Fuel teams picking races that they're going to go to. They're going to skip certain races. It's just a very challenging deal to travel the country, period, let alone with race cars competing against other people trying to tear your heads off. So to get a little bit more just to be there is a good deal. But to me, it highlights this style of racing that we like so much. Pro Mod, of course, it's popular everywhere. It's still an up-and-coming growing class. But the Gator Nationals and the history of Pro Stock at the Gator Nationals is incredible. We got the 50th year of Pro Stock for the Gator Nationals. So this is like, hey, Pro Stock racers, if you were, for whatever craziness, thinking about not going to the Gators for whatever reason, no, here's more reason to bring your junk down to South Florida or down to Florida, and race it. Because we've got so many people that care about Pro Stock in this area, and it just, the cost per mile just went down.
I'm prepared to argue that Pro Stock, NHRA legal Pro Stock, is the strongest professional class in drag racing right now. I'm prepared to make that argument. I really believe that a few years ago, it became kind of like fun for people to pile on. You look on social media and everybody was calling Pro Stock dead. It's over, blah, 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 blah. But you look throughout the course of 2019 and here early in 2020, this deal, Pro Stock Drag Racing, has a full head of steam, man. Fresh faces, new teams, super teams, growing programs, lots of interest, great racing. And it's, I would say, if not the strongest, certainly the most stable category that exists in professional drag racing right now. And for me, it just feels like we've had the K&N shootouts. We've had different things happen within the confines of the NHRA, but I don't know that there's ever been a standalone, independent, big money Pro Stock race. And I hope this is something that I hope to see more of this. I think this is the type of thing that we could see people in the future as our purse money grows. I want guys coming out of retirement to run this race. I mean, we're at a point now where you can rent a car from KB Racing. You can rent a car from McGahey. You can rent a car from Elite Motorsports. You can get a program. It's hard to say fairly reasonable, but fairly reasonable.
Depends
right,
on who you are. No, that's true. Depends on who you are and what you do. There's a lot of people doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, man. Guys like you could afford it.
Of
you
course.
Go out and rent a car for a race for one weekend, and that's what I really hope this becomes. I hope we see, the Pro Stock purse money continue to grow, to give these guys a once-a-year deal to come out, really swing for the fences, let it all hang out, and they deserve it, man. They're putting on a big show for drag racing right now. I look at 2019. I think the highlight of the whole year was the first round matchup between Greg Anderson and Erica Enders at the finals in Pomona. First round of Pro Stock, to me, highlighted the entire season. So you can't tell me that Pro Stock isn't a show. You can't tell me that Pro Stock can't fill grandstands. You can't tell me that Pro Stock doesn't deserve to be a marquee attraction. And I think that's the final salvo for me, the shot, the statement that I want to make, Joe, is that Pro Stock drag racing is entertaining. It is a headline attraction, and we're going to prove it March 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Awesome stuff. So what about the showbiz aspect of it? I know you're always, trying to add that element. We got a Pro Stock and a Pro Mod drag race, right? But what are the particulars? What are we going to do? What are you going to do? What extra stuff is going on? What are people going to see? What do they get for their money? Are you going to add some sort of element? We've talked in the past. You're going to have a race with a belt. You're going to have doing various other elements to increase entertainment value to make this a brawl, like a big heavyweight bout. What kind of elements can fans who go expect to see?
Right now, we're really looking at, well, of course, when Wes goes to a drag race, Wes throws a party. So Friday night, first and foremost, racer party, sponsor appreciation party. We're bringing in food and drink, and we're going to have a big old time. We're going to run around a qualifying Friday night under the lights at Orlando. Holy crap. I mean, thinking about that is pretty special for me right now, just thinking about what it's going to feel like on Friday night. It's going to be hoodie weather, which is, quite an attractive thing for the drag racing crowd. We're going to be bundled up a little bit. The sun's going to go down. It's going to get a little chilly, and we're going to likely see records set, I would say, for every combination that exists in Pro Mod, which there are like 90 right now, and most assuredly in Pro Stock. Then as soon as that's over, we're going to throw a big old party on Friday night, let people have a good time, show them how much their participation means to us. Saturday, we are going after it, man. 3 qualifying sessions on Saturday. We are going to get after it on Saturday. We are going to announce some still ironing out the details match races that are going to go down Saturday night that I think are going to be pretty exciting and kind of put a unique twist on the event. And then Sunday, man, we're going to follow in the footsteps of the NHRA. There's no argument, in my opinion, that the NHRA is the absolute best at putting on these events, running these events, doing them in a timely fashion, making the tough decisions. And we're going to run our race at 11 a.m. on Sunday afternoon, man. I feel kind of honored to have the opportunity to do a Sunday eliminations deal just as the NHRA would do it. So that's a lot of it, man. We're going to have a championship ring on display that's going to go to the winning teams in both classes. We've got Cold Hard Art out of Indianapolis, Indiana, doing some incredible trophies thanks to our friends at Jegs. These things weigh like 55 pounds each. They're unbelievable, handcrafted trophies. We're going over the top, man. Big checks, pomp and circumstance, backdrops, photo ops. I mean, we saw it this past weekend at the Daytona 500, man, and just how much that pomp and circumstance adds. I honestly think they could have put Trump in that limo and drove out the deal and called it a day. And everybody would have been satisfied, man. All of that pomp and circumstance, the flyovers, all those things make so much of a difference. And we may not be able to get Air Force One to burn over, but I've called a couple friends with crop dusters that I think are going to make a low pass over the quarter mile there and, get things started in the right way.
There it is. Wes, I love it. I love the attitude. And, of course, there are people, though, that are in the area. We want them to go. We want them to check it out. We want them to take that energy and meet some drivers and then go up to Gainesville and just have a couple of great weeks of drag racing. But there are people who are on the West Coast. They can't make it out, right? And you guys have done something for them as well?
Absolutely, man. I mean, we partnered with Speed Video. This has been a huge talking point in the sport of drag racing over the course of the last couple of weeks. I find it to be a very polarizing thing, but at the end of the day, we're in the business of providing value, right, Joe? We have to provide as much value for our racers, for our sponsors, for our fans as we possibly can. And James Lawrence and the guys at Speed Video have put together the industry-leading live streaming platform, and we felt it was a no-brainer to partner with them and provide masses around the world, race fans around the world, the opportunity for a nominal fee to sign up to subscribe to the service. I believe it's like it's 50% off or something at $24.95 right now. They're doing an early onboarding discount. You can subscribe to the service, take in all sorts of drag racing action from all around the country. I think they have 60 events scheduled for 2020. The World Doorslammer Nationals being just one of those. So you can sign up for the service, watch the deal in its entirety. But the cool thing that I think is a little bit of an unknown deal for whatever reason is that a large part of the event, 30-40% of these events will be streamed for free. So you'll be able to catch all of our testing on Thursday, all of our daytime testing on Friday, and I believe even Friday night's qualifying session free of charge. So you can kind of wet your whistle and decide if you want to make the investment and watch the rest of the race. I hope you'll do so. I hope our fans out on the West Coast and in other parts of the country and around the globe, I would argue, cast their votes with their wallet, man. For me, I don't know about you, Joe, but if I can spend $100 or $25 or $10 or whatever it is supporting the sport of drag racing, I'm happy to do it. What our sport needs right now, more so than anything else, is successful promoters. It's so important. It seems like it's a bad word. It's something that it smacks negative for whatever reason, that a promoter is successful or a promoter makes money. We need the NHRA making money. We need race promoters making money. We need events and tracks making money, because that's how they afford to invest in the facility. That's how they afford to pay more payout, how they afford to pay out and pay down the rankings. It's so important that these tracks and these events are successful. So I encourage people around the world, no matter whether you're going to watch one race, ours, the World Doorslammer Nationals, you're going to watch all of them, whatever the case may be, don't be afraid to invest in our sport. It's helpful, man.
Well, I agree. And, people have got to make money. That's just the whole exercise out here and what we're trying to do. And I think it's definitely worth it.
But it's not the 80s. It's weird, right? I mean, and I don't mean to go on a big thing, but I've actually talked with people, and I was born in 1983, but I have friends that were, that kind of came up in the world during that time. And they tell me stories of how, commerce was and capitalism. People were excited. People were proud to be making money. People were proud to be successful and doing well. And it seems, for whatever reason, that type of thing it's almost frowned upon right now. It's just not something that people are as excited about as I think they should be. And hey, man, we need race promoters doing well. We need guys out here that own racetracks having insane success, because that's what's going to keep our sport going for generations and generations to come. So got a little off track there, brother.
Yeah, no, listen, well, I get what you're saying. I mean, we could probably take a college course on like why and how and all of that stuff. But the bottom line is, look, I think that and people are willing to pay money for things that genuinely entertain them. That's what it is. Everybody is looking for entertainment at all times. They got to pay for a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And that are mandatory. But in the end, some entertainment to lighten things up, to have a good time, to spend times with you and the kid, to go out there and have a little fun, that's mandatory also. And so a good time, a great race, that kind of thing. And everybody's coming down anyway. They're all getting ready for you got a lot of competition that weekend, though, Wes. I got to say, like, you got Baby Gators up there for the, the .90 crowd and all. Not too far. Maybe they'll come down Saturday night. Who knows? And then on over in Bradenton, you got some action going on, like NMCA, I believe.
NMCA season opener, man. I mean, those are some great guys. And I will speak candidly that we hate the way these schedules lined up. Unfortunately, there's only so many weekends in the year, and we were going to put our pro stock guys in a real bind to try to make them race 3-4 weekends in a row, especially out west, Pomona, Phoenix, and then head all the way across the country to go do this race. So it's tough. I mean, it's one of those things that all of us promoters and all of us track operators, we're big boys, right? We understand that tough decisions have to be made, but I really hope all these events are very successful. I believe there's enough to go around. I think we all speak to slightly different audiences. We definitely all speak to different classes of racers. So I think we're all going to, hopefully, if the good Lord's willing, and we get a little bit of sunshine, we're all going to have a really, really awesome first weekend in March, man. Really kind of kick the season off for everybody in fine fashion. And I got to say, just in closing, for us, the biggest thing that I have been so overwhelmed by has been the support from C-Tech Manufacturing to JEGS, Organa Brands. I mean, we have so many partners that have stepped up to be a part of this deal and really come out of the woodwork. People ringing our phone as a, longtime promoter who's been in this game for a while, having people ring your phone and say that they want to be a part of what you're doing. I don't know that there's any bigger kind of confidence builder than that, because people see what you're trying to do. They know you're doing it for the right reasons, and they want to be involved. And I can't tell you how many times my phone has rang over the course of the last couple of months with someone, big movers and shakers in our industry, saying, how can I help? How can we be involved? And we are just eternally grateful to all those people. And you hit the nail on the head a few minutes ago, Joe. We want to make sure people have fun. That's one of the things that I think gets lost. We, as competitive as all this has become, as the stakes have gotten higher, the eyeballs have gotten greater, the stage more significant, fun is one of the first things to fade, unfortunately. You start getting more focused on PO numbers and reaction times and all these other variables, and you forget that drag racing for almost everybody is a hobby, right? It may be a hobby that we do at a really high level. It may be a hobby we, in some instances people do for a living, but it's supposed to be fun. And we want to make sure that we deliver the fun in spades that first weekend in March, man. And everybody comes through the gate. That's our first priority, is to make sure they have fun, whether they're a racer, a sponsor, a media member, a fan. We want to make sure they have an absolute blast and can't wait for 2021.
There you go, Wes. Great job. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all goes. Pro Stock, Pro Mod, taking center stage down there in Orlando Speedworld. Great job. Real quick, what's up with Drag Illustrated? Everything cool?
Everything is fantastic, man. I couldn't be more proud of this project, dude. 15 years in, we kicked the doors open on this deal. 15 years, really. This year will be 15 years. And we kicked the doors open on this deal in the fall of 2005, Joe. And man, have things changed. I mean, I think back to then, we didn't even have a website. Facebook wasn't a thing. We were contemplating starting a message board back then, and just to think of all the seismic changes that have happened in publishing, to be here at this point and to have a business that's strong and ever growing is something that I'm really proud of, man. I look at my team and I see a group of guys that are nimble. I preach this all the time. We are able to rapidly adapt to change. We see new technology. We don't run from it. We don't put our heads in the sands. We embrace it. We try to find a way to use it. And at this point in time, man, we've got a print magazine that's never had a higher circulation. I've said this a lot over the course of the last few months, but we had a record sales month through the Christmas season, man. Over the course of 48 hours, we sold 1,500 subscriptions to the magazine. You can't tell me print's dead, man. For car people, there is perhaps no greater accomplishment than seeing yourself or your hot rod in a magazine or on the cover of a magazine. And I'm so proud of how significant the cover of Drag Illustrated has become. We just had Erica Enders on the cover of the magazine, and she called me crying, Joe.
Wow. She
was just so over the moon to be on the cover of the magazine. And, these are racers that a lot of times, in some instances, have been on the cover of the magazine of other magazines. And this isn't anything totally new to them, but there's something about being on the cover of Drag Illustrated that means a lot to these people. And it warms my heart, man. It never gets old. And I'm really proud of, like I said, of our willingness to embrace these new technologies. We're active on social media. We lean heavily on email. We use every tool that's available to us. I believe my guys at Drag Illustrated are the best storytellers in drag racing. And we try to tell those stories across whatever medium we can, and that's really the name of the game for us, being where people are, and driving the conversation. We fancy ourselves people that are willing to have the tough conversations, tackle topics that maybe not everybody would touch on, tell the stories of unsung heroes that maybe operate outside the bright lights of the NHRA, right?
Yes.
And celebrate those people the same way we would John Force, and man, we're looking forward to a big year in 2020. We got a ton of stuff going on. This will be our first time doing 2 races in 1 year. We're starting the season here with the World Doorslammer Nationals. This summer, we will return to Bandamere for a special event. We will be in Indy this winter 2020, putting on our Drag Illustrated After Hours party during the PRI show. So we're doubling down on events, man. We like I've said, man, I like to throw parties. I like to have a good time. I like to bring people together, people with common interests together. And that's something that we're going to be really focusing on doing as much of as we possibly can in 2020 and beyond.
Wes Buck, great job. Thank you very much. I wish you luck with the historic World Doorslammer Nationals presented by C-Tech. Great job promoting Pro Stock, Pro Mod. Thanks for coming on WFO Radio Podcast. Tell our listeners all about it, and I will see you real soon.
We will see you real soon. Thank you so much for having us, Joe. And don't forget, guys, March 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2020 Orlando Speedworld Dragway. We'll set Orlando on fire at the World Doorslammer Nationals. Thanks a bunch, brother. Talk soon.
Thank you, Wes. Wes Buck with us here on WFO Radio. I've spent a lot of time on the mic with Wes over the years, and great enthusiasm, passion for drag racing comes across very well. You can see that he is a go-getter, and I am happy that the future of the sport lies with people like Wes. Right? He has got energy, and I'm excited to see how he does with the Orlando Speedworld Pro Stock Pro Mod event. Certainly a lot of drag racing fans. I say it all the time. That's as far south as NHRA goes, Orlando Speedworld. We need NHRA south of West Palm Beach, Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, like our area where I live. We've got millions and millions of people. So many of them are drag racing fans. We need a presence, but as far south as we can come. Let's make it happen. Good job by Wes and Richard Freeman and that team out there, and good luck. And, of course, I love Pro Stock, and so I'm excited about it. Thanks to Wes. And thanks to our sponsors, talking about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, samtech.edu, Total Seal Piston Rings, MagicDryUS.com and RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Plus Drag Racing Edge, EV3 Drag Racing. More magazines, right? But listen, I think that there's room for plenty of magazines out there, especially if it's about drag racing. Everybody covers a little different stuff, a little different attitude, right? You don't read one editorial, you read them all because you want to know what everybody's got to say, and we appreciate what everybody is doing out there. More WFO to come. Hit the archive. Click subscribe. Matt Hartford coming up. We got Fast Jack Beckman earlier in the week. Scott Palmer, Alan Reinhart. WFO NHRA podcast got you covered. Plus, the Ignition Show is my entertainment show in that we cover all topics except for like religion and politics. We do not cover those topics, but everything else is fair game. Like that lady who got her seat kicked because she tried to recline. Oh, I got to talk about that. There's so much we're going to get into on the Ignition podcast. Pure entertainment. We talk sports. We talk NASCAR, Daytona 500. Check it out. WFO Ignition. It's in the WFO radio feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. We'll see you out there at the Arizona Nationals. And Matt Hartford coming up. Thanks, everybody. WFO.
This is WFO Radio.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to MagicDryUS.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. MagicDryUS.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's MagicDryUS.com. We're talking gourmet coffee. We're talking hot sauces. We're talking spice rubs. We're talking everything good at RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak, been doing it since the 70s. Figured out that life is better with great coffee. And oh, he's so right. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. He'll roast up some coffee fresh for you. Throw in some hot sauce, some spice rub, and you will be loving it. Hit him up, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the block, head, and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for Super Comp, Super Gas, all the way up to Top Alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego has gone, but
I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO. This is WFO Radio.